Hi guys, I'm back. I think right now I'm going to be talking about my relationship with my husband and kind of going into the backstory of that and what kind of, I'll probably tie that into the baby and adoptions and whatnot. Hi. I'm sure I've said it before, this is Toby. He's my husband's dog. My dog is currently laying on the floor right next to my feet. Uh, it's actually kind of a funny story how me and my husband met because I was not expecting it at all. I was working at Honda and I'd been there for probably a good year almost. Oh, pardon me. Goodness. I'd been there for pretty close to a year when I had been working in the back of the building and then they moved me up front. And when they moved me up front, I noticed there's this new guy who's just automatically just coming up to my desk and doing stuff. What is he doing? So I found out that he was the new lock porter. I was like, oh, okay. Well, at that time I was a bored person. Like I was so bored all the time. So whenever he came up, I would just talk to him. Well, probably within the first week, I knew something was different. I had no idea what. I couldn't shake the feeling that he was someone that was going to be very, very important to me. And I started talking to him and I started finding out things he disliked and liked and things he liked. I researched and so I could talk to him about it. And at this time I'd already started watching anime, so like he's an anime person, I'm an anime person, so we were just kind of like, oh, hey. So we started talking. And the more we started talking, the more I noticed I really like this guy. Crap. So I kind of found out one of the, like I think it was 2 weeks after having met him, Toby, stop, that he was dating someone. And I was like, crap, what do I do now? Because I ain't crossing that line. So, oddly enough, like, at this point, I talked to my mom about a lot of it. I was like, Mom, this guy, he means something to me, I just don't know what, and he's dating someone, so I can't cross that line, so what do I do? And so for about a month or two, I was a friend. I'm one of those friends that if I have an opportunity, I will buy you anything and everything. And it just so happened I found out his favorite candies, so I was buying him his favorite candies all the time, and then like occasionally I would buy us lunch, just because like I could tell he didn't have as much money or as much freedom. So I just wanted to be nice. And it wasn't in any romantic way because I just was wanting to be a friend. And that kind of started growing because I started finding out more what's going on with him, more about his relationship and different things. And I thought it was funny because I told my mom, I was like, he's going through a lot right now. I want to give him my phone number, but I don't want to cross the line. How am I going to do this? And I still remember this because I decided on like a Monday or Tuesday to write my phone number on a sticky note, stick it to a piece of candy, and leave it for him. And then when I came back from my lunch, it was gone. And I was like, he has it. Oh my gosh. So all day, hadn't heard a thing. The next day rolls around, and he's like, so, did you leave me your phone number? Because I think I misplaced that note. And I hadn't been expecting that direct of a having to admit that I gave him my phone number, especially when he was dating someone. And so I was just like, yeah. So I gave him my phone number again, and I told him, I was like, so yeah, I go to Hook Lounges. If you want to stop by, I will be here on this day. And the next thing I knew, was that Sunday, he texted me, he's like, hey, are you at that hookah lounge? And I was like, yes. And about 10 minutes later, he showed up. My computer is about to die, so I'm going to pause this real quick and I'll be right back. Okay, computer is all plugged in now, so I'm good to go. So, when he showed up, I was not, I was on my laptop, totally unaware that he was even going to remotely show up. So I was like, okay, what do we do here? Well, we hung out and it was fine. And then he had to leave to go get something from his girlfriend. And he came back. We hung out until like 1 in the morning. And I was just like, what is this? Because at this point I knew something is definitely going on between me and him. I just can't figure out what. So during that week, he was going through a lot of things. He'd become a little bit more quiet and detached that week. And that was the week I went home pretty much every single day and cried. I cried so hard because it hurt to see the person that I pretty much over those like month and a half to 2 months to grow to realize that he was the person I was in love with. And I loved unconditionally. And it wasn't the one where you just wanted to shout it from the rooftops and like everyone aware of it. It was the one that I genuinely just wanted him to have a happy life and to be taken care of and to get what he deserved. And it killed me to see that I couldn't do that. But that week I went home probably every single day and cried because I couldn't get it out of my head. I was just like, why am I in love with someone who's in a relationship? Why? And I prayed so much that basically if it wasn't from God, this wasn't a God thing, to please take away my feelings, to lessen them so that I stopped having this much pain. And it only got stronger, which is pretty dang difficult to deal with, especially when you work with a person style. You can be like, oh, I'm not going to talk to you. So that the weekend of after us hanging out at the hookah lounge, I found out from him on like Friday before we left that he had pretty much given his girlfriend an ultimatum, basically telling her, me or your friends, I can't keep doing this. Because they were having their own issues, and that's not something I'm really going into. But they were having issues. He'd given her an ultimatum. That Saturday, she gave her answer, so he texted me and told me, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, if you want to hang out, me and my friend are at this hookah lounge. Welcome to join. Not thinking he'd actually join again. Sure enough, he walks in about 30 minutes later, and he looked fine. Like, And I can't forget that night because it was so weird because at this point I did not know what her answer was. I did not know, I knew about the ultimatum, but I didn't know what was going on with him perhaps. Like, it's a big deal when you have to give someone an ultimatum, and then especially when they choose the answer that you're really hoping they don't. It's kind of difficult. The whole night, him and my friend were just teasing the hell out of me because I couldn't quit blushing all the dang time. Because, of course, we were sitting on a couch. My friend was sitting on one side of me. He was sitting on the other side of me. And I was in the middle of both of them. And it just... Oh, that was bad. Bad. I could not quit blushing and all that. Well, he apparently had been oblivious to the fact that I liked him until about a week prior, or a week or two prior to us hanging out. Because he's just like that. His head's in the sand when it comes down to relationships. He doesn't really notice what's going on around him. Which, I mean, works for me because I'm not his wife. But, This is going to be a little bit longer video because this story is just really funny and really in detail. But, so we hang out that Saturday night after that happens, and then the Sunday following, or the next day, I asked him if he had anything for lunch because I had cooked too much. And he was like, no, so I went over, didn't plan on staying, was just going to drop food off, and ended up spending the night. Had not planned on that at all, was completely not normal for me at the time, especially with me trying to get my life back in order at that time. I was just like, what did I just do? So, with that being said, during the course of that night, I asked him, because of how we were both kind of acting, and I was like, what's going on and what are we? He was like, well, what do you want us to be? And I'm like, it seems like we're dating. He's like, okay, we'll be dating. And it didn't register at that point. That point, it should have been like a little ding ding. That, hey, this person just got out of a relationship a day ago. Don't do this. But I didn't. So I started dating. About a week after we started dating, my parents found out because I told them. And they wanted to meet him. And I was like, okay. So I had him come to the church service for our Christmas candlelit service. And I was just expecting him to go to that. But then my dad afterwards, he was like, hey, you want to come eat dinner with us? And I was like, okay, that's semi-okay. And my dad asked for him to stay for a movie, and I was like, that's cool, but what is going on? So we spent that day together. He went down to his family's house for Christmas, and I stayed at mine. And we spent New Year's Eve together, and that was fine. But then, probably the week after New Year's Eve, he became really distant, and I couldn't figure out why. So we finally talked, and he said that we were getting really serious. Oh, and rewind. During that literally a month of us dating, he had brought up how, what did I think about getting married and different things. And I just kind of was like, dude, I know I love you. You need to chill. So, a week after New Year's, which is in 2016, no, 15. It's been a while. This was January 2015, and he decided that he wanted to take a break to make sure that this was what God wanted. So he kind of rushed. And during that break, I felt like my heart was being ripped out again, because it wasn't as simple as that, and I knew it, but he couldn't see that yet. And during that time, my friends kept, because they didn't really know what was going on, my friends kept pestering me to have him come out, and every time it just kind of like was door in the face each time, and I could just start telling something was really off. So, me being my I'm not letting go self, I started planning my birthday. I was going to go to Branson. I was going to Branson with him. Hell or high water, that was what was going to happen. And sure enough, I started talking to him about it, and I'm like, hey, so this is what I want to do for my birthday. And he was like, okay, we can go together. And I was like, dating. We'll go together when dating. And you could tell on his face when I said that, he was just like, oh my gosh, she doesn't give up. And it was very interesting. That trip was amazing, but it was a bittersweet trip looking back on it, because it was amazing, but it also kind of was what led us to a sore spot, which was the 2 weeks following that. We had a fight, and something had spooked him, something had happened, and things were said that I just it was probably the worst fight I've had to deal with ever, because when you're sitting in front of the person that you love completely, and you know is the person you're going to marry, but they can't see it right now due to whatever they're going through. It's hard to sit through those conversations without just screaming, no, you're the person I'm going to marry, so shut up. And so we broke up at that point, and we didn't get together. We still worked together, and that was hard because I thought about switching jobs, and I even got like a job lined up. But then I realized I'd be running away. And I couldn't, because that's not in the person that I wanted to be. So, when June rolled around, we started going to the drive-in as friends. Even though he completely didn't act like it, he was always flirting with me and always talking, and I was just like, what is going on with you, dude? We're friends. And one night, I just said, screw it. I did a very foolish thing, and I slept with him without protection. Now, note, at this point, I was 20. Very silly, very stupid, and not exactly the smartest person on earth. So we ended up sleeping together in June, and I told him that basically that was only going to happen if we were dating. Because of how we'd been acting, we had ended up hanging out every single week for like a month prior. But, and I was just getting confused at all. Get out, like I was cooking dinner, we were going to the movies, we were hanging out. I was just like, what the heck is going on here? So kind of, I manipulated in my own way to get it hit my way and to get something out of it. And then the weeks following, it was just very strained. It was very, very strained. And then the beginning of July, I got into a wreck, and I ended up missing my period, and I thought that it was because of the wreck and the stress. And in Tulsa, in Oklahoma, we have this, the Tokyo in Tulsa, it's an anime convention. It's a big whoop-de-doo. Well, that was the first year I was going to go. And I had planned on it for a while, and I just thought the Thursday before it started, I was like, I'm just going to take a pregnancy test just to make sure. Probably just stress. And it turned out it was positive. And I was just sitting there in shock, because I was just like, shoot, I'm pregnant. What? And the first person that found out was my roommate, because he walked in and he saw my face and he's like, what's up? And all I did was I held up the test and I was like, yeah, I'm pregnant. And I ended up staying up all night talking to him about it. And then I was supposed to have gone into work that day, but on the Friday following. But I couldn't muster it up. So I'd gone to my mom that morning, because I was supposed to work that afternoon. I'd gone to work that morning to talk to I'd gone to my mom's house to talk to her about what was going on. Told her that I was pregnant and whatnot, and I was trying to figure out what to do. But I knew that during that weekend, when I was going, he would go. And I wasn't sure that I wanted to put that on him on that weekend. So it was a very rough weekend, to say the least. I ended up telling his best friend before we told him, because we went out to go talk while she was smoking, and I told her what happened. She's like, does he know yet? And I was like, no. She's like, he needs to know. So that Saturday, that weekend, I told him when he came over. I told him what happened, and he was in shock, like pretty much most guys. And I said, just think about it, and then get back to me. Well, then, I don't remember why we met up the way we did, but I think it was either Sunday or Monday. I think it was a Monday after I told him. I met up with my friend and her husband, her boyfriend at the time, at another hookah lounge, and I said, hey, if you want to come, well, through the whole night, like, he wouldn't really make contact with me. He wouldn't really engage me in something. Like, he was just being really distant, and it was just like driving crazy. I'm like, I'm pregnant. What's going on here? And that night we had to have. That was another big moment probably for me. Was that night I stood in the rain and I left it all on the floor. I said my piece and told him to stay or leave, but either way I was having the baby, and that I was done playing this game. And I'll probably go more in detail about that when I talk about the adoption and the baby more in another video, because I'm already at like 20 minutes on this one. Like I said, it's a longer story. But, he didn't talk to me for like 3 days while we were at work. And then the Friday of that week, I get this random text when he's on his lunch stating a baby name. I'm just like, what? What's going on? And he was like, I just thought it'd be a cool name to consider. And I was like, so have you made your decision? What's going on? He was like, yes, I made my decision, but I want to talk to you later. So we ended up hanging out that night, and that's the night that I made the promise that I would never leave him. And that's the thing is you have to realize with each person they have this trigger. Mine is being lied to. I cannot stand being lied to. It's just a fundamental part of me, like, do not lie to me. His was being abandoned and being left alone, and that was the easiest promise I could make because I can't leave people alone. So that one's probably going to continue more into the other video just because it's that from that point on, it's about the baby. But our relationship grew strong enough that we ended up getting engaged after I had the baby. We got married last year, and it's not easy. We still have things that trigger us, but we've been through the hardest things that anyone could think of and got through it. And I'm beyond blessed about my husband. I always had the tendency to never want to let anyone go. And oddly enough, the person I ended up marrying was the person that needed that reassurance that no matter what they did, if they had a bad day or whatnot, that person would not let them go. So it's kind of a nifty story in that aspect, because we've been through a lot, and a lot of emotional drama, but we miraculously are stronger than ever, and it's kind of a nice thing to be able to look back and realize that was God. If I had switched companies, or if I had not listened, I probably wouldn't be with him now. So I'm gonna wrap this one up now. I'll talk more about other things in another video. But I hope you enjoyed hearing that. I kind of am a talker when it comes to that topic because it's a touchy one for me and it's a personal one. I got the biggest blessing of my life out of it, but it was still a lot of hardship. And I hope everyone has a good day. And this one's not so much of a deep in thought as a story. I will leave just this little deep thing in there for someone to think about. The person that you end up with is not going to be the person that is in knight in shining armor, who has no flaws, who is perfect all the time. It's just not. The person you marry will be a puzzle piece to you. No puzzle piece is perfect, but they all manage to fit together perfectly. And that's pretty much what I've noticed with this is we were both flawed in different ways, but everything matched up perfectly. So it just is one of those things that you want to think about really seriously when you're looking for someone you're interested in. Look at those things. Don't try to shove the flaws away or don't condemn them. Look and see, is this something that I work with? And go from there. Alright, well I'm going to cut this video short, or not short. It's not short at all. I will talk to you guys later, and we'll keep going with this schedule. Bye guys!